If you're looking to scale your business and learn from the best life and health insurance agents in the industry, you're in the right place. This is your host, Jason Hoffman, and you're listening to the Agents on the Move podcast, where we profile producers who are consistently at the forefront of the industry in production and management expertise. We are joined by Doug Carlson from Salem, New Hampshire. Doug has been an insurance producer and has grown a very successful team of agents for the last 20 years. On this episode, Doug shares with us his keys to success over his career and what has made him an effective leader. So Doug, take us back 20 years. What was going through your mind and what kind of led you to getting into the insurance industry and what was going through your head?
Yeah, well, first off, Jason, thanks for having me. This is pretty cool. I think maybe this is my second time ever being invited to a podcast. So when I told my kids this morning, they thought I was a little celebrity. So hopefully they'll enjoy this. But my story, I don't know if it's interesting or not. Hopefully some people might get something out of it. I really feel that I've been so fortunate in many ways. But I guess my story starts with the fact that when I was in college, there was no class how to sell insurance, that you couldn't major in that. But I learned, I went to a university called Northeastern where they had a co-op program that you were pretty much in school for 5 years. But after your freshman year, you go 6 months into the workforce and then 6 months in this class and 6 months in workforce. So you got experience to be out there to see, the real world. And I thought that was so incredible option when I was looking at colleges. And I was also fortunate to play a little bit of college hockey there. So it was just a good fit for me. And really quickly did I learn when I was, again, fortunate to play Division I, but I knew right away that I wasn't going to make a living playing hockey like I wanted to growing up, like most kids playing hockey. But I say to people all the time, I learned not what I wanted to do. I actually learned what I didn't want to do. And I had a couple experiences. I worked at a commercial bank, 9 to 5, and sat behind the desk, and I almost had like claustrophobia. And at one point, I also went to some IT operation where I was doing I don't even know what type of work, but both those experiences taught me right away that, hey, when I want to come out of school, I at least know I don't want to be sitting behind a desk 9 to 5 and working that way. I just knew that I wanted to find something that was a little bit more of an entrepreneur. So to make a long story short, my parents said to me, oh, right out of school, you got to get a job. And also at that time, almost 20 years ago, you also have to get your own health insurance once you're off your parents' plan. So a little bit unbeknownst to me, checking the paper, going for different interviews, trying to find what in the world interests me. I went to an interview that was, many people in it. It felt like, it wasn't the most appealing thing at first, but, something about controlling your own destiny and some keywords that were said, making your own schedule, all these great things that were like, wow, that is interesting me. That interests me. And then, oh, by the way, we also help people with their health insurance. I was like, wow, this is maybe something I'm interested in. So took my exam, paid my exam. It was a lot of money back then, especially having nothing. And I was fortunate enough, though, to have great supporting parents and family that were definitely, hey, you can do this, and got my exam and passed it. And next thing I know it, I was just dialing the phones and making calls. Nice.
So how far along were you, like when the proverbial light bulb went off, where you felt like, oh man, I can do this, I can be successful?
It's a great question, because I wasn't quite sure, but the more I kind of thought about that question that I had heard you had asked some other great podcasts from associates that we've had, and I had to think about this one, but I think, and I'm positive that competition to me is with myself or others. I don't know if that's a great trait or not, but I just like to compete. And I remember being in this little office and people putting up numbers and just looking around being like, I can do that. And then some, there was some little contest. If you do something within a certain period of time back then, I don't know how they tracked it, you win a little trip. And I was like, you know what? I want to win that trip, and I want to, take my girlfriend at the time, now wife. I want to go away on that. And I think those little things drive me, and they still do today. I like chasing carrots. I like setting goals and aspiring to hit them. And I think that maybe goes back to just my growing up with a competitive family and sports and activities. I like to win. I like to do a good job, I guess. And that hit. I think I sort of drank the Kool-Aid once there were contests out there.
Did you hit any low points or any moments of self-doubt along the way?
Yeah, I think who doesn't a little bit, right? I mean, I do say to people, especially right out of the gate, and when I bring on people now and mentor, we all have those moments of doubts where the day never goes exactly as planned. And certainly that first probably 12 months to 24 months when somebody's starting to be an entrepreneur or going out on your own, am I doing the right thing? And there were a few times where, I felt like hanging them up, but I think I did have enough confidence of saying, I'm not selling products as much as I'm selling myself. Somebody taught me that people don't buy whatever Blue Cross or whatever carrier is out there. They really value you. And that kind of triggered with me. And I said, well, I consider myself a people person. I can relate to a lot of different types, I believe. And I said, well, if I know I can do that, this can work out. So
would you say it's perspective? Keeping things in perspective is what got you through that?
certainly. And, I knew, there were a lot of other people that maybe, and I looked around the room or people who are starting it that were in positions where somebody had said to me, a lot of people kind of start this because they're broke or broken. I'm kind of really rare at that point. I was right out of school. I had a roof over my head that my parents were allowing me to stay under as I got it built up. Obviously, I wanted to buy my own home and get out and move on, but I was pretty fortunate to have all those layers that I didn't have to worry about supporting a family and a household at that very beginning.
And if you had to pick, Doug, if there's one big idea that you think really kind of helped your business take off, what do you think that would be?
To me, it's networking with people that you want to be around. Enjoy what you do and enjoy the people that you're working with. That be within your own organization that I've been so fortunate about, but also just the outside, the peer-to-peer groups, the coaching, the networking. My world used to be athletics and sports, and those are the camaraderie that you have. And that's something that I think as you move on from college or different walks of life, you want to be part of something that's bigger than just yourself. And I think if you have a good support staff, and obviously at your home, but we hope to all have that healthy, but also just the relationships that you build and that you can help each other grow and learn from. I think that's so important. So surround yourself with positive people that are also looking for the right things and the networking with other trusted advisors, such as P&C owners, property and casualty owners, attorneys, estate attorneys, financial advisors. To me, I try to be that trusted advisor role and be similar in that role that they do.
So not only do you personally produce, Doug, but you also have a team of agents. What do you think some of the traits are that makes an effective leader? And then follow up to that would be, what do you think your breakthrough moment was as a manager?
Yeah. So, I think off the top, when I first started and luckily enough to be asked to be a manager was, I'm never going to ask somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do. I certainly never wanted somebody to outwork me. I was never the most talented in sports, nor was I most talented. And quite in fact, right now, insurance guy, I always seek help from others because I know I can't know everything about everything. But as far as a manager, I didn't want to say, hey, do this unless I'm going to do that as well. And, by far, Jason, that's the thing I'm probably most proud of is having a group of agents my core group that has really stuck together for almost 2 decades here. They're not only my associates, they're my close friends, a lot of them, and we've grown up together and enjoyed so many different parts of being an entrepreneur. It's been the most rewarding part of it.
Yeah. A lot of times that's more fulfilling than the accomplishments you make yourself.
You know what, if I knew that so many years ago, it's unbelievable to me how blessed I am to be around those folks that that every day, and just, especially with the last 12 months, this is right now, February 2021, the last 12 months has been different than ever that we can imagine. And to support one another and to learn, not only with my own team here, but a lot of us associate agents around the country. It's just, it's pretty neat and very proud of it.
Yeah. Are there any things you still kind of wrestle with today that you're trying to improve on?
Absolutely. Always can think you can better. And I know you can. I never stop learning. And still, to me, what I love about the business is the adaptability, seasonality to different things. Obviously, a lot of us go really hard in the fall and we buckle down, and obviously our families understand that and friends, and we make some sacrifices then. But, there's so much to do and so many people to help. And the one area, Jason, that I could definitely consistently want to get better at that I know of is delegating. I listened to Silas Jessup the other day with his podcast, 4 assistants, and he's just got such a great system down. And I know you're such a system person, and I need to get better at delegating. And I have somebody that does a little bit part-time with me, but I still do pretty much A to Z for my practice, which I know at some point I really need to get better at. And
it's a hard thing to let go.
It is.
Do you have a certain way you start your day or a typical routine? Or
I am absolutely a morning person. I get up early. I pretty much do some sort of physical activity every morning. I need to. That's just sort of my time to be that 1 hour before the kids are up and helping the family get up and running. But I feel like getting a step up, it might just be my own thing or not, but I just get a lot accomplished out of the way. So it's sort of that I'm ready, clear-minded, ready to go that next morning. And I always have my to-do list the night before where I can just take a quick look at it and say, here are these items that I got to absolutely do no matter what. So I think organization is such an important thing. And, is every day go scripted like you planned it out? Never. But, if you have the fundamental things that that you prioritize and get done. And I think today, more than ever, there's so many distractions between electronics and this and that. I really have done actually, this just came to me. I make a pact to really have almost like a not to-do list. So many people have a to-do list, but I created a not to-do list during the day, and it really helps you out. And including, I know this is such a simple step, and I don't know why it's coming to me right now, but I made a conscious effort to delete emails that I never want or from spam, and literally don't just hit spam, but actually get yourself deleted from their list from all this junk that we get all the time. And little by little, I have been getting less of that. And I think these little things that you can do and turn off all the things that get in your way during the day is so important, because we all have distractions.
Yeah, you can get chained to your inbox. I shut off all my email notifications. I don't get any notifications.
Yeah, it's a smart thing. I also, in the morning, you talk about routine. A lot of people roll over and probably check their emails right away. I made an effort in the last year here to read before I go to bed. I sleep a lot better reading instead of watching TV. And I also, I don't check the work emails until I kind of get the routine down in the morning.
What do you do to work out? Do you go to the gym? Do you run? What's your favorite thing to do?
Yeah. So COVID times, it's been a little bit different, but here's sort of my routine. Twice a week, I go with my wife. We do an Orange Theory together. So that's a sort of a cardio thing, which is pretty neat to do with your spouse, but that's my cardio thing. I usually play hockey at least once a week in the morning with friends. Obviously, that's been a little bit different lately. So with this recent COVID, and my kids getting a little bit older, we built a home gym. Actually, I built a home office upstairs and down below, sort of a garage carriage house, and we installed a pretty cool gym, and it's right there. So there's no excuses not to get a workout in. Even if it's short and quick, it makes you feel a lot better, and definitely a good balance in life.
Nice. So if you get one do-over in your career, Doug, what do you think that would be?
It's a hard one to answer, and I guess I'm fortunate enough to say that. I think one thing I would say is just stay focused. And I've been doing a pretty good job of this, but I see so many people get distracted with something shinier over there, something greener. Whatever it is, give it all that you got. If somebody's trying to get you to get unfocused to do something else, there's usually other intentions there. So believe in yourself. If it's not selling an insurance, it's something else in life that you enjoy and you have a passion of. But I guess I've done a pretty good job of staying focused.
Yeah. What are some of the good choices that you think you've made that have made you who you are?
I think a long time ago, somebody said to me, and I realized that we can't control a lot of things in the industry or the markets or the legislation. The one thing that's consistent is change. And I don't know if I came up with this or stole it from somebody else, but I've already said that we can't adapt the wind, but we can adapt where our sails are going. And I'm not a sailor, so I don't know exactly what you do with the mast and the steering thing here. So I'm probably hacking those description things, but I really do firmly believe that. I don't fight upstream. There's certain things I can and cannot control, but I do know how much my effort and how many dials I make per day or whatever it is. And those are the things I can put my head down on the pillow and say, hey, I help people out, growing my practice. More importantly, I have a lot of people that are making a living, helping other people. And it's been so successful. I'm very happy.
So you have a new agent in the business. What's the first thing that you tell them on the first day?
So I try to, and I have them all follow me now, obviously with Zoom. It's been different because I used to have people just literally sit next to me or drive with me. But these days, they're on Zoom. They watch me literally just do what I do for a couple hours. And I always say to them, I never know what you're going to see here. This is a real live show. I don't want them to see that it's too easy. And I also don't want them to think it's too hard. But I do want them to understand that it's a building block. There's no such thing as in my opinion, a get rich quick scheme out there. It's just blocking and tackling, sort of doing the fundamentals every day and learning every day, but don't be worried that you can't know everything at once. That was probably one of my biggest, hardest things going back to your previous question is I wanted to know everything right away and I was so impatient. And I think that can work for you and against you. It's great to have motivation, and there's a lot of people that maybe have paralysis by overanalysis. And to me, I've figured out that as long as people know that I'm a trusted advisor and that I help people with general health, life, dental, Medicare arena, they'll come to me with different things. And I usually have to go and find smarter people that are better at different things, such as like life insurance with illustrations. It's embarrassing to say, Jason, but I don't think I've once done my own life insurance illustration for a customer. I always have somebody take a look at it and help me out and making sure I'm doing the right thing. So
You're delegating that. And that's something I wish I would have done.
hmm.
I spent a lot of time learning all that stuff, which at the end of the day, I could have just called a carrier and had them run it.
Yeah, and they have, they could see different things, and I love, the technology, being able to do it together and kind of learning. But I still just think, they do it for a living all day and night. To me, it's like I'm the primary care physician. If I can't do a hand surgery, I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to get the specialist then. So
right, yep. So what's one of the biggest surprises that you've had in the last few months?
Yeah, so obviously different times. One thing is for sure is we are so, think about it, every single day we have the ability, we have a phone, a computer, and we can help people. And it's just, to me, I'm so proud of my team and my associates for, I don't know, maybe coming together, even getting more close, even though I haven't seen anybody in almost, I was just looking at the calendar. It's almost been 12 months since I've had a formal meeting. And we're probably closer, more efficient with the Zoom and screening and different things and topics that have become, I think in some ways, even been better at educating each other and sharing best practice ideas. So obviously the world's changed quite a bit, but I do still miss the belly to belly. I can't wait to actually see people face to face. Obviously it's probably not going to go back to what it used to be 100% or whatever, but you get such great clients that you want to actually see and hear and listen to and hear stories. You go to people's homes and they show you this, whatever, 67 Corvette in the driveway. You don't have that as much anymore. So I don't know if the right word is intimacy is not there as much, but you try to figure it out. And I think these Zooms that I even do now with customers, I try to get more and more of them to do it that way because you get to know them even a little bit better and have a stronger relationship. And at the end of the day, that's what kind of keeps you driving, right? Is the motivation with other people.
Yeah, see their face.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick one thing, what do you think has been your most satisfying moment in your career over the last 20 years?
When I first came out, I was, again, so naive, not knowing. I admit, I was working 80, 90 hours a week, just going hard. And, I was fortunate enough to win a couple, national producers, and my team won a bunch of that stuff, number one team. I think just of recent, I got to tell you, that doesn't really mean much to me at all. Maybe it did back then. Just looking, I'm doing the reviews each year and my own agents, seeing how many people are actually making a living doing what I'm doing and knowing that I've rubbed off on them, if it's 1% or 20%, I don't know. But if I brought them in or, just that they're enjoying themselves and they're making a living and they're enjoying it. We're certain thirsty for, we used to have summer outings and holiday things and get-togethers, which none of us have done. So obviously, like many people right now, we're eager to have some of that stuff again, maybe in the soon. But I think just overall, just seeing how many families have been affected, my agents of having a great living.
Yeah. So you mentioned like a lot of us have done, you kind of put the pedal to the metal and you work 80, 90 hours a week. Did you face burnout and how'd you get through it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. So I always thought that would never happen to me. And probably thinking it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I did for the first time in my career, and I didn't maybe even realize it during the moment. I probably went over and was doing too much. And I always thought I had such great balance with family and outside friends and all that stuff. And I certainly probably did do a little bit too much work. And I don't know if it was much as just burnout because I kept on fighting through it, but it wasn't fun. It was the first time that I wasn't enjoying myself. So I kind of recalibrated, put certain things in perspective. And again, so blessed to have being around other associates that were supportive, that I confined it in a little bit, muscled through it a little bit and came out on the other side. But it was certainly a challenging time. To me, at the end of the day, knowing that having the ability to be in control of actually my destiny is the best part. I don't care how much I make. It's more about feeling good about what I'm doing and enjoying why I'm doing it. And which is obviously for most of us, providing for our families and doing the right thing by people, which is, I'm very proud to say it's been a great run.
Did you have to put more structure in your day? Did you have to pull yourself away from work?
I did. I made boundaries. I certainly, instead of kind of being on, and I still think as a self-employed person, I hear other people say, I turn her off. I've never been wired that way. I look at, I give the analogy of sort of a radio dial. we're all at like 8, 9, or 10 max during the fall time. I wish I could say that I turn it off at night. I don't. I used to turn it down to 1 or 2. But would that happen to me 3 or 4 years ago? I was able to maybe put more things in structurally so that I knew that I was turning it down to 1 or 2 more often. I wasn't rubbing the engine so high, so much, so often. So a little humbling and embarrassing, but it was same token. I was able to still do what I do every single day and service my accounts. I just wasn't going out finding new prospects as much as I used to.
So what's one thing, Doug, that very few of us know about you?
Again, probably embarrassing here, and not many people know this of me, and I'm not good at it, but I really enjoy actually woodworking. Not that I at all good at it, but I enjoy carving signs, little projects, especially I picked up again a little bit more as we're all faced at home and challenging here. Sort of a nice little just mindless thing, making signs. And again, I hope you don't ever ask to see many of my projects because they're not a thing to write about. But something like that, I just like both my grandfathers with me for a very long time, and they were always just doing stuff. If it was gardening or in the car or doing projects, I was always fascinated by that. And I joke about it still now these days. I'm not very good at many things around the house. My wife pretty much would delegate anything. Even if we could hire somebody to turn it on a light bulb, we probably would, because you kind of lose that touch. But that's my one sort of area of losing mind and grabbing some tools and carving away at some nice piece of wood.
Nice, man. So is there anything that you draw inspiration from that you would recommend to other people, whether it's a book, a course, a mentor?
Yeah, this is one thing I could probably tell myself, maybe answer your question earlier about, could I tell myself something earlier on, is be more of a student as far as reading. I wasn't really, again, I did all right in school, but I did just to get by most times. I have to admit that, and don't let my kids hear this. But I enjoy learning more than I did when I was younger, and I like reading. Do I have a huge library? No. If you ask me for my top 5 books, I wouldn't probably, besides, Killing series with O'Reilly, he probably didn't write many of those books. I love those book series. But, I do draw inspiration from a lot of things that I've read and take little pieces from it. And right now I'm reading a book. I like wartime books. Reading Rebel Yell with Stonewall Jackson, pretty good book. But you take something from all different things and learn from it as far as leadership.
Well, hey, Doug, thanks so much for coming on and sharing with us and giving us your perspective and insight. I always enjoy listening to your opinions, and what you've done to become successful, I think, has been an inspiration to all of us.
Hey, Jason, thanks for having me, and thank you for putting this all together. And you probably don't know this, but a lot of us are always sharing, hey, he's always doing it the right way. And with this technology and the things that you're going out there and doing and learning for yourself is awesome. So keep it up.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks, man. Everyone, thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Agents on the Move podcast. You can subscribe to the show wherever you listen to your podcast. If you thought the content was beneficial to you, please subscribe to the show, write a review if you'd like. We look forward to joining you again. Thanks.